Powerful communicators have a secret weapon in their back pocket. And I want to arm you with that weapon in 2025 so that you can level up your communication skills. We're going to talk about it right after the intro. Those weapons that I mentioned, there are four of them inside the toolbox of powerful communicators, which usually are organizational leaders. And before I jump into that, I want to introduce myself. I'm Linnita Hosten, and organizational leaders hire me when they're ready to communicate better so they can effectively lead. And today we're talking about the secret weapons that arm an individual to be a powerful communicator. And they're all around or in the realm of listening. All right, so there are four weapons I want to talk about today. And if you have this in your toolbox, I want you to type in the comments, yep, I'm armed with that. Okay, so here's the first one. It is the intelligence collector. See, that's the tool. It's when you are listening more than you speak. You're listening for the intricacies, the details. You're listening for what a person is not saying. You are able to put yourself in the shoes of the person whom is speaking. And so instead of interrupting them, you are leaning in to their change of pace and their instances of emotion or lack thereof, and asking questions around those things related to what they're sharing. And sometimes maybe it's not a question, but it's you affirming, like, wow, that is pretty tough. I hear you. That's pretty difficult. I can see why that definitely upset you. That's what we call the intelligence collector. The second toolbox that I want us to all be building is the trust builder. And active listening creates really strong relationships because you begin to become like a safe space for individuals. You become, and I was going to say the hiding place, but you definitely become the go-to person. People anticipate that when they share something, they can count on your clear ear. They can count on your level of compassion and presence. You know, I think we underestimate the value of listening. Sometimes, and if you're married, you might have heard your spouse say, I don't really want you to just tell me the answer. I just want you to listen. And if you've heard a person say that, I just want you to listen. That's an indication that your listening skills need sharpening. And so learning when to put these tools into practice, I think, is more powerful than knowing the tool. So definitely that trust builder is making people feel valued and understood. It's your ability to empathize. And here's the catcher. Even if you don't agree why they are upset. I can't tell you the number of times someone has confided in me about something. I didn't necessarily agree with how they handled it, how they communicated, but that's not my place unless they ask. Sometimes it's just you being a listening ear. And it's interesting, when you build trust, you can go back and correct. So when we build trust by being an listening ear, creating a safe and non-judgmental space, and that person has the, I guess, the confidence to confide in you, you can let time pass and circle back and say, hey, that thing we talked about, can I give you my 2 cents? When their emotions have subsided. People are very much, I think, receptive to correction when it's done in love, but also when it's done when emotions are neutralized. And so even when you disagree, that's not the time to, input your stance. That's really the time to listen. And this is definitely an area that parents can actually grow in as well. There's another tool, which is like the response. It's called the response enhancer. And this is when you're saying small phrases that indicate to the person that you're following. And sometimes it's not a phrase, it's just your body language. It's your direct eye contact. You looking, you nodding, letting a person know you're following their story, giving them what we call nonverbal cues that you're still attentive and listening. So important. I don't want us to underestimate that tool in the toolbox. And then, as a result of these, and this goes in tandem with the other four, but you begin to amplify your influence when people know that they can trust you. Their guards are down with what they can share. And not only that, they're more receptive to not just your correction, but your advice and counsel. And this is invaluable when you're building camaraderie, collaboration, morale. Trust is critical. And I don't know about you, but I'm not trusting someone who I feel does not listen to me. So these are great skills that I want us to add to our toolbox in 2024. If you have more interest in developing your communication skills, I invite you to join my free community. It's called Emerging, and you can go to growmyspeakingskills.com. We release new content in that group weekly, and it's free to join. Growmyspeakingskills.com. If today's content resonated with you, if you'd like to hear more about it, I'd love to have you. Also, hit that subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, let's connect so that you can stay up to date, not just up to date, but also stay accountable to developing those communication skills that increase your influence and ultimately grow your impact. I'll see you next week for more communication tips because I love this stuff. Bye now.